Hello and welcome to Jessie Bear Book Club. Today we are discussing the third book in the Accursed Kings Series, The Poisoned Crown. From the start of the Iron King to the beginning of the Poisoned Crown, it has been about a year and a half, and oh, so much has happened. The book opens with Guccio and Fat Bouville escorting Princess Clemence of Hungary to France to be married from Naples, and there is a big storm where they're all caught up in the boat and the ship is rocking in the waves, and I really enjoyed the dramatic imagery it summoned up. But this section of the story makes me dislike Guccio Baglioni even more, especially the bit when he breaks his leg and concocts that stupid lie about jumping ashore to help Princess Clemence. I think my dislike for Guccio stems from his cockiness, and I think it was this dislike that put me off finishing this series in the first place. I didn't want anything good to happen to him. I clearly remember the first time I tried to read this series thinking Guccio was a fuckboy. In the next chapter, we follow Louis X and his war against Flanders. Louis's army is bogged down in mud and rain with no supplies, and Louis is feeling very disheartened. But I think it's interesting how Maurice Druon used this to explore Louis X's psyche, talking about how his father was so strong-willed and powerful, and how Philip the Fair held on to power so relentlessly it damaged Louis because he never got a chance to test his wings and build confidence in his own right. So, the first chance Louis X gets, he gives up on his war and goes home. In the third chapter, we get Maud back, and she and her lady-in-waiting, Beatrice Dierson, have made a love potion they get Philippe, Count of Poitiers, to drink so that he will take his wife Jeanne back. But I think Philippe was already leaning in that direction to regain his wife and make an heir. So the magic in this story has been so well written into history, it doesn't matter if it works or not, it's whether you believe in it. And writing about magic well in real history is always a very difficult thing to do. We finally get the wedding of the century, and Louis and Clemence are wed. And if you want any more proof that Louis is the template for Joffrey Baratheon, it's here, man. A live fox jumps out of their wedding cake. Jeanne, Philippe's wife, is freed from prison after Clemence intercedes for Jeanne on her wedding day, but that's mainly because she has a crush on Philippe. And then there is a strange scene where Jeanne, just freed from prison, witnesses a man being buried alive and beheaded for no real reason or point to the story, apart from perhaps to depict the barbarity of the Middle Ages and the hatred between Robert and Maud. When Clemence discovers that her sister-in-law Jeanne is pregnant, she is sad in a very female way, but I love the way she stood up to Uncle Valois, telling him it's not her fault she's not pregnant. All the women in her family are fertile, and it was good to see a little bit of anger out of this docile, meek woman. The meeting between Clemence and Eudeline was very well written and felt natural, and it really endeared me even more to Clemence because she was not angry at Eudeline for having born Louis a bastard. She knows that there is nothing wrong with anything Louis did before their marriage. And more than that, she understands that prince is gonna prince. What devastates Clemence is finding out that Louis ordered the murder of Marguerite, his first wife. She is completely horrified, and who wouldn't be horrified at finding out their husband had murdered their previous wife? But the way Clemence goes about confronting Louis is majestically manipulative. I don't know whether Clemence understands that she has power over Louis through religion, but the scene where he is chasing her around the bedroom is great. She makes him feel strong, but still has mastery over him because he's so in love with her, and that is a female art in and of itself. I also get show Marguerite and Joffrey vibes here, / Tommen with all the religious stuff. The fortune teller bit didn't quite hit me right, but the Great Council was a little dull politically until Robert throws his cards on the table. Up until this point, he has been secretly fighting Maud, but now he is out in the open, and may the dice fall where they will. And of course, King Louis sides with Robert. He did murder Marguerite for him after all. Now we are back with the squires of the Cressy family. Guccio's leg has healed and he is on his way back to take charge of the bank branch of Nerful. On hearing the news, Marie is overjoyed and lets slip that she hopes to marry Guccio, which her mother, Dame Liabel, and oldest brother are horrified by, that a banker should aim to marry their impoverished noble family. So they start scheming to make sure that Marie's marriage to Guccio never happens. I feel sorry for Marie, but Guccio is such an ass. When he arrives at the manor, he starts telling them how he would improve their home with building works and new furniture. It's enough to make anyone's blood boil. They then inform Guccio that Marie is to marry a distant cousin, and Guccio is so angry he leaves rudely and early. Unluckily, Marie gets a message to Guccio and they meet secretly, and she explains what's going on. Then Guccio rushes back to Paris and his uncle Ptolemy for help, and acts like a dumb cockerel, strutting about, explaining how he plans to kill Marie's new suitor, or he will go to the Queen and get help. Like the Queen would be able to do anything, and why would she take an interest in this lowly banker? Ptolemy luckily stops Guccio doing something very stupid and agrees to help him marry Marie secretly, dispatching Guccio back to Cressy with the monk. Marie and Guccio are married secretly in a church in the manor, but the church door wasn't open, so is the marriage binding? This is the question. Guccio notices this, but fails to tell Marie, simply taking her to bed, even though the marriage might not be recognized. The smarmy little git. Queen Clemence is now pregnant, but Philip of Poitiers has discovered a Templar plot involving cardinals and the conclave to kill Louis X, and that Louis has had a spell cast on him. It's all very dramatic, but doesn't really go anywhere, apart from scaring Maud and Beatrice Dearson, as the Templars were involved, and Philippe has their lame Templar who makes poison under guard. They are worried he is going to talk under torture, but the Templar commits suicide, luckily. Maud is still out of favour with the king and refusing to give in to his demands or cede any territory, and the discovery of the Templars forces her to action. After long deliberation, she decides the best thing to do is poison Louis, and finding a means, she goes about it. She decides to poison the sweets that Louis is so fond of that Clemence keeps spread throughout her apartments, and so, without much time passing, Louis is taken ill with severe stomach cramps. I don't overly like Maud as a character, but I do admire her tenacity and resourcefulness when it comes to holding on to her lambs. Back with Marie and Guccio and their hidden marriage, Marie discovers that she is pregnant. Just after telling Guccio, her family figure it out, and her brothers take it upon themselves to kill Guccio because they believe there is no marriage and he has dishonoured their little sister. Guccio escapes their clutches and rides back to Paris and his uncle, who informs him the monk that married them is now dead and there is no witness to Guccio and Marie's midnight marriage. Ptolemy then finds Guccio a place to hide. Guccio is such a little wuss. All big talk, but when push comes to shove, he won't protect his woman and goes away to hide like a rat, not thinking at all what will happen to poor Marie. Then Ptolemy tells the brothers Cressy that Guccio has run away to Italy and explains he will sort out everything, and the brothers Cressy go away mollified. The play acting Ptolemy does in this scene is masterful and worthy of an Oscar. Ptolemy is definitely one of my favourite characters. His acting sets him above a lot of the other players on this stage. He is so Italian and dramatic. Louis X dies of poison and passes from this world to the place beyond, leaving an empty throne and a 4-month pregnant Queen Clemence. His uncle Valois makes his grab for power too obvious, and it is shut down by none other than Fat Bouville, who positions himself as the protector of the throne, and I really like this scene. Quite average Bouville, the defender of kings. Philip of Poitiers, King Louis X's brother and next in line to the succession, if Clemence doesn't have a boy, is in Avignon wrangling cardinals and dealing with Templar plots. So he is out of Paris and of no use to Maut. She worries she has played her hand too soon, as Maut and Louis Count of Evreux are the only people against Valois being regent, and Valois is a big champion of Robert of Artois. In the end, nothing is decided, and they decide to hold a great council, calling every member of the family. The book ends with 3 riders heading out in directions to summon the family, one of which being Guccio Baglione, who is sent to Avignon to get Philip of Poitiers, with a message from Fat Bouville. I give The Poisoned Crown 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed this book. The story is really heating up, and the seeds sown in the first 2 books are now ready for harvest, and the storm is gathering. The Poisoned Crown gets 4.2% on Goodread. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, because I have more Accursed King series reviews coming out and comparisons between Accursed King characters and the characters in A Song of Ice and Fire, as well as House of the Dragon. Until next time, don't eat any almonds, as they may contain poison.